Welcome, everyone. Today, we are diving into the Business Model Canvas, a strategic management tool that provides a structured template for developing new or documenting existing business model by outlining, visualizing, and refining your business idea. Think of it as a roadmap for turning your vision into a profitable business. We'll explore nine essential building blocks covering what they are, why they matter, and how to approach each one. By the end, you will have a clear path to building a sustainable business. So, the first important point is value proposition. A value proposition is simply the unique benefit or solution your business offers to solve a customer problem or meet a need. It's why customers would choose you over a competitor. In fact, when you thought of the problem and created a business idea around it, that itself can help you create your value proposition. A strong value proposition sets you apart from competitors and draws customer to your product or services. It clarifies your purpose, helping to align all parts of your business towards creating value. What you should do: identify customer pain point and figure out how your product or service can solve them. Make it clear why your solution is better, faster, and more convenient than others. Craft a compelling message that communicates your value proposition simply and effectively. Now, let's look at an example. If you are an eco friendly cleaning brand, your value proposition might be safe, green cleaning product that are better for your home and the planet. Second important point is customer segments. So, any business we think of cannot be thought without keeping customer in mind. It's important to identify the business model based on unique characteristics, advantages, challenges, and businesses must choose the model or mix of models that best align with their business strategic goals, market, and resources. What are these models? So, you must have heard of B2B, business to business. This model involves transactions between businesses, companies providing products and services to other companies, such as suppliers selling to manufacturers or software product providers offering solutions to enterprises. Then the B2C, business to consumer. Business selling directly to consumers. This is the most common model where companies offer products or services directly to the end user, such as retail stores or e commerce platform. The C2C, which is consumer to consumer. Consumer sells goods or services to other consumers. This model is often facilitated by third party platform like the online marketplaces, the eBay, the Craigslist. Now, C to B, consumer to business. Individuals offer products or services to businesses. This model is seen in freelancers, especially freelancer platforms where they are providing services to consumers or companies directly. Then comes the B2G, which is business to government, where business is providing product and services to government entities. Then you have G2B, where government is providing some services and products to the businesses. Typical example would be like the government auctions or issuing permits or the licenses that we get even when we are starting off a business. And then comes D2C. D2C is direct to consumer, a subset of B2C where manufacturers sell directly to consumers bypassing traditional retail channel. So this model has become popular with the rise of e-commerce. And then finally you have the B2B2C, business to consumers, which is a combination of B2B and B2C, where businesses sell to other businesses, which then sell to consumers. For instance, a wholesaler selling to a retailer who then sells to the final consumer. So, customer segments defines the specific group of people or businesses you serve. Each segment may have different needs, characteristics, and buying behavior. Therefore, understanding your customers allows you to tailor your value proposition, the go to market effort, and product features. And yes, different segments may require distinct approaches, which helps maximize your market reach. So this is what you need to do. Identify who has, identify who your primary and secondary customers are. Research each segment's need and adjust your offerings to meet them. Prioritize segments based on their potential value and ease of access. Now, for example, a gym might target fitness enthusiasts, working professionals, older adults, each with different programs and marketing messages that will bring the target customers closer to them. Even if they all fall in different age groups, they still provide the same service, but targeted to different audience. Now, coming to the third point, which is channels. Channels are the mediums that define how do you deliver your value proposition to your customers. This includes various methods of communication, distribution, sales platforms, both online and offline. It's important as it's how you connect with and serve your customers. Like they say, being in the right place at the right time, ensuring you're available where your customers are, helping them drive sales and satisfaction. Effective channels include awareness and accessibilities. And what you should do is choose the right mix of channels for awareness, consideration, and purchase stage. Optimize each channel for the best customer experience. Measure effectiveness regularly to ensure your channels are meeting customer expectations. Let's look at an example. Say a tech company might use social media as a website for awareness, an e commerce platform for sales, and email for post purchase support. The fourth point to remember in the canvas is customer relationship, which is basically how you interact with and support your customers, ranging from personal assistance to automated self service or community building. It's important because strong relationships create loyal customers and drive repeat businesses. Understanding how you will interact with customers can improve satisfaction and retention. What you should do? Define the type of relationship you want with each customer segment. For example, like the personalized as well as the automated. Consider customer expectation and adapt your approach accordingly. Use feedbacks to refine and improve the customer experience. An example would be a high end fashion brand might offer one to one styling sessions, while a mobile app might provide 24 by 7 chatbot support, right? Now, the fifth important point in the canvas should be the revenue stream. What is a revenue stream? Revenue streams are the various ways your business makes money. This can include direct sales, subscriptions, service fees, licensing, and more. Why it's important? Define how your business will generate income, ensuring sustainability and potential growth. It helps measure profitability and guide strategic financial decisions. And what you should do in this, identify all possible revenue sources that fit your business model. Experiment with pricing model to find what resonates with customers. Diversify revenue streams if possible to minimize risk. Now, if I look at an example, a music streaming platform might have revenue streams from subscriptions, partnerships with record labels, and advertisements. However, with my rich experience of mentoring startups, I usually discourage businesses to give priority or only depend on advertisement as a revenue source. I usually tell them to treat advertisement as bonus, which is unexpected. I notice a lot of new businesses put advertisement upfront. Even the first ever newspaper that was published had no advertisement in it. They sold the core service of news at a value, and when they became popular is when they started making revenue out of advertisement, which was an additional revenue stream. Sixth point to remember is key resources. These are main assets required to make your business model work. Resources can be physical, like your building, your machinery, the factory setup, intellectual properties like your patenting, trademark, human resources, like a skill team, or financials like the capital and investment. Why it is important? Without the right resources, it's difficult to execute your vision. The resources you have directly affect your ability to compete and grow, right? What you should do, identify the resources you absolutely need to start and grow. Secure or acquire these resources through funding, hiring, or partnership. Invest in quality resources, especially if they are essential to your value proposition. If we look at an example, if you are a software company, your key resources might include skilled developers, advanced computing system, and intellectual properties like software licenses, right? Then coming to the seventh point, it is the key activities. Now, key activities may vary for every business, but broadly, they are the essential action your business must perform to deliver your product or services effectively. These include the product development, supply chain management, dealer recruitment, trainings, trainings and support, monitoring, evaluation, sourcing, transport, processing and delivering of goods, data capturing, processing, managing, and presentation, then the quality control, the research, the processes, the methodology, the marketing and sales, and customer support activities. It is important as your success depends on your ability to carry out these core activities efficiently, effectively, smoothly, competently, masterfully, and effortlessly. Defining them helps you prioritize and allocate resources where they are most needed. What you should do? List all key activities criteria for your business operations. List them all out. Streamline processes to ensure activities are effective and well coordinated. Continuously improve your process to adapt to customer needs and market trends. Now, for an example, a food delivery app, key activities include managing the application technology, coordinating with restaurants, handling customer inquiries, and ensuring fast deliveries, leveraging the delivery partners, right? A team like the HR supports an employee benefit team. HR or the employee benefit team helps in keeping the morale of the employees in positive so that they are motivated to come to work every day. Third key is the key partnerships that you're looking at. Now, in the key partnerships, they they are alliances and collaborations with external entities that support your business goals. These can be suppliers, strategic allies, distributors, channels, partners, or could also be competitors with whom you have a mutually beneficial relationship. Why it's important? You can't do everything alone. Partnership helps fill the gap in resources, skills, or business research, and defining them initially reduces risk and cost by allowing each partner to focus on what they do the best. So, what do we need to do? Identify partners who can offer the expertise, the technology, the resources, the support that we lack. Negotiate agreements that align with our goals and also provide value on both the sides. Build trust and maintain strong communication to keep partnerships successful. Now, imagine you're launching a tech product. Partnering with a facturer reduces your production cost, and partnering with a logistics company that handles your shipping allows you to focus on the product. um, Today, even in marketing, you can have an outsourced marketing team that can support your business team with sales enablement. So even marketing today can be done in partnership. The ninth most important is the cost structure. The cost structure outlines the significant cost associated in running your business, which includes your fixed cost like your rentals, your salaries, and then variable cost, which would be, which would occur in production or marketing. It helps you understand your financial needs, prioritize expenses, and improve profitability. It allows you to better price strategy by factoring production and operational costs. So here is what you should do: list all major expenses and categorize them as fixed or variable. Optimize cost by negotiating with suppliers or improving operational efficiencies. Track expenses regularly to ensure cost stays within budget, and identify areas for savings. An online retailer like Myntra cost structure might include like website management, inventory cost, marketing and shipping fees. Whereas a Zara store, which is in Mall of the Millennium in Pune, has a rental lease of the store, the interior work that they had to get done, the staff working in different shifts, the electricity expenses, and many other. And then in marketing, they might want to take the billboards at the traffic junctions closer to that particular mall to advertise. So the cost structure will vary. So in conclusion, the business model canvas is a powerful framework for structuring your business idea. Each component plays a role in making your vision achievable, sustainable, and profitable. Remember to revisit and refine each area as your business grows. So, good luck and thank you for joining this journey into the business model canvas making.